Microsoft Word is without a doubt the most arrogant of all Microsoft products. Bon is subtle as a brick through the window, wailing about Ruby's lips on the licking stick. What could he be speaking of? Have you tried the new local restaurant? I think it's called Diabetic Fat Boys All You Can Eat Food Trow. I thought the wine selection was a little lacking, but overall, 5 stars.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
It's been a bit of a weird week here.
How so?
Oh, it's just with the boss being on vacation and having to tell everybody he's not here. He's not here. He's not here.
But you have to hear his stupid jokes either.
No. Yeah, that's positive.
His terrible attempts at humor. Just say no, Brett.
It was the 4th of July this week.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated by sitting out in the fire pit and burning unwanted furniture. I mean, to hell with 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We just burn it.
Just burn it. It was weird because one-day holidays are weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't hooked into the weekend. So we had to work Monday and then we were just off this random Tuesday for 4th of July.
And then got to go back to work on Wednesday.
We finished the floor down here, though.
Finished the floor.
We are back to full strength with a brand new floor.
So it was, it was definitely, but we're minding our own business, burning our own furniture,
right?
Sitting out at the fire pit. You know, we always sit out there. By the way, that's when some of the magic happens. We share new music finds with each other. We take turns playing on the speaker. Sometimes we just play silly stuff, but we're sitting out there minding our own business, burning our own furniture.
Yes.
And the people next to us start like shooting off these absolute professional strength grade fireworks. We're like, great. We didn't even have to go to a show. It's happening.
I think we were the only ones in the block that were not shooting off fireworks.
So as we're sitting there, one of the ones they shot went sideways into the other yard.
Yeah. And it was at that point that I thought, is this just entertainment or are we in any kind of personal danger?
Are we next?
Yeah, I got a little concerned then because the combination of alcohol and fireworks to me is not good. And we were surrounded by it.
Luckily, we escaped without any further.
Yeah, we didn't have any
scares.
Screaming kitty chasers come, blasting into our yard. Luckily,
anyway, so happy 4th.
Happy 4th, yeah. So, I don't know what made me think of this, but Microsoft Word used to just spell check, right?
Right.
And boy, did we talk about spell check and how spell check can be bad last week. Remember? Pardon me if you have any concerns, right? So I usually when I write reviews and stuff, I usually run them through the spell check. But they've added in this whole new editing, I guess this whole new editing module in Microsoft Word that actually gives you a score on what you've written. And it has these subcategories like gender inclusion. It doesn't like when I type the phrase you guys. Funny enough, if I type you girls, it doesn't get flagged. So fuck you, Bill Gates.
My God, that was the lead-in for the electric company for years.
Well, now it's not inclusive. So you can leave the men. You can leave the men out. Microsoft Word doesn't care, but you can't say, "Hey guys." There's a category called formality. We have instead of we've, and brevity does not like the word apparently. So anyway, now
I say apparently all the time.
I know, but Microsoft Word doesn't like it. After it gets done with its spell check, it gives you the score on what you've written. And I usually get like a 65% because of all the contractions and Scandinavian names and stuff that I might have in there. All of it counts against you. I just thought to myself, the nerve of this app to grade my writing. I mean, I could dump Catcher in the Rye into Microsoft Word in its entirety, and it would probably get like a 46%, Microsoft Word is without a doubt the most arrogant of all Microsoft products. So the rating is also based not only on your writing, but factors of political correctness and the lack of slang.
Yeah. Don't you remember when they used to have the little paperclip who came up and banged on the screen?
I forgot about the little paperclip.
And he would always look disapproving, like, dumbass, what are you doing? Are you writing a letter? Hello? Click, click, click.
Excel doesn't accuse me of sexism. I could write a formula that's going to blow the building up, and it would just be like, "Good job, Mark. Your formulas all add up. Sounds good. Hit the enter key." Excel does not judge. So,
Oh boy. In the spirit of the 4th of July.
out of curiosity, I dumped the full text of the Declaration of Independence into the word editor. Guess what score it got? The most brilliant minds of all our founding fathers put this document together. It got an 84%.
Wow.
So all that brilliance, Microsoft Word says, low B. Apparently endeavored with a U in it, or no, ENDEAVORED is not a recognized word. And too much exposition. I guess Microsoft Word said, "Oh, please get to the point already. The king is a tyrant and will remain so."
Yeah. And what is a Fortnite? I think it's a video game.
The Gettysburg Address got a 92%.
Pretty good.
But Word prefers resolute to dedicated.
Really?
And there is no hyphen in battle-field, Mr. Lincoln. Yeah. National anthem.
Yeah.
Got a 72.
Really?
O'er the ramparts we watched. Apparently, apostrophes grew on trees back in the 1700s, but not today. What the fuck, right? Reagan's Mr. Gorbachev, take down this wall speech got a surprising 91%.
A little more modern, maybe.
Of course, there were some minor issues. I mean, who says we're encircled, for crying out loud? Minor points for being aggressive and using all caps a few times as well. So you and your iPhone.
Yeah, I fight constantly with my iPhone. I know everybody's got a damn you autocorrect story, but I will tell my phone, I am never having a ducking day.
Who has a duck? When is ducking ever needed?
It's never ducking. It's never duck. It also, it won't even let me say hell. It always changes it to heal. Like, let them burn and heal makes no sense. So, send all these patients to heal. It's dumb. But, I think this is pure satanic discrimination.
It is. It is. I dropped Outcast Call of the Wild into the Microsoft Word. Dre only got a 64%. And interestingly, it had no problem with the N-words. The N-words in that song like 200 times.
Exclusive problem?
That was fine. Didn't have a flag. Yeah. So how the hell does it work? No wonder we switched to Google Docs, This is a little story. This is riding me on this story. Okay. I was always pretty good at spelling and grammar. That was always kind of I was okay at math, but spelling and grammar was always my thing. And that's why I ended up getting the German degree and all that stuff. But I drove all my English teachers crazy because I just thought it was dumb that we have a whole class for a language that we already speak. It's like, to me, the whole thing seems stupid, right? And I actually had one of my college teachers tell me, she said, I had like a 98 in her class or whatever. I was doing other homework in her class. It's so stupid. She said to me one time, all the class had left, and she said, "Mark, you're a brilliant writer, but I feel sometimes that you mock my very profession sometimes."
Wow.
I thought about it and I said, "Katie, I wouldn't use very in that sense. I think just, Mark, you mock my profession. It's fine. I mean, can we trim it up a little bit, a little more concise?" Yeah. And she said, "Get out of my office." And I said, "Okay. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you talk about our feature interview this week? It is a good one."
Our feature interview this week, note the bling, is with Thaddeus Reardon and Jason Taku of Louisiana's hard rock band Vermillion Whiskey.
Yeah.
We have been obsessively cranking their new album, Crimson and Stone, relentlessly around here.
Yes, we have.
It's a great discussion that ranges from the recording process to a tour of TJ's tattoos to explaining what the taco circuit in Louisiana is all about.
You got to hear it. It's fascinating. So stay tuned for that. And let's get this thing going. Let's play a song. This is Vermillion Whiskey with Down on You. Hey, while we're on the subject of torturing English teachers, I had forgotten about this one. My high school English teacher, I think she wanted to have me murdered. She hated me. And I remember what she would do. Again, I always had a really high score in her class. We were reading like books, like I hated the books. I found Our Town, The Great Gatsby. We had to read these. And you're supposed to read every night. And then the threat was that she could have a pop quiz, right? Well, this cunt, what she would do is she would wait until the class was not behaving, like we're chitter-chattering too much. And then she'd do whenever the tongue came out, I was like, oh God, here we go. She'd say, all right, get out a piece of paper. It's time for a pop quiz. And I didn't read every night. I read like in chunks. So like I might not read for 3 nights and then I'd read like half the book, right? Anyway, so I got pissed because I was like, you know what? You're trying to chip away at my grade is what you're doing by giving me these, because I don't know the answers to these pop quizzes. So my way of combating it was every question she would ask like 25 questions. I would write until my arm hurt, just make shit up. Like it would say, what does the character Chad represent in the book? And I'd be like, interestingly, Chad represents man's struggle between his self-doubt and his past evils, and he also tried to sell the protagonist a shovel in one of the prior chapters. And I just filled it up right with crap. And then I turn it in and I got it back and it was like X line. And then she wrote, I don't have time to read your asinine answers.
God.
And then I went up to her during class and said, number 22 is correct. Could I get credit for that? She was like throwing shit at me. Oh, I think I caused actual damage to her brain cells with my shenanigans, Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth podcast. I put a really fun one up this week. I went back and rewatched Smokey and the Bandit, the first Smokey and the Bandit, which is on Netflix. I had a ball, and I did like a little mini review, and I think I made it public. So if you go over to patreon.com/Snaggletooth podcast, you can see that bonus feature for free. And it's going to make you just want to give us $6.66 a month, because that unlocks tons more bonus footage like the Smokey and the Bandit feature.
Also, I'm going to give a tour of our great tomato forest out back.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's kind of scary.
As well as, a few tips and tricks I've learned along the way from my mother, the master gardener.
Excellent. Yes. Yes, we really need your patronage. So head over there now and subscribe to unlock all kinds of bonus content, really funny, off the wall stuff. You think this is crazy. You got to get over to Patreon and see some of the stuff there. Also, I've started, when I do Collectorbation, I've started continuing to review other albums from the same bands on Patreon. Like I just added some Aerosmith reviews from last week's show.
Also, I think later this month, we're going to have to do another blind beer tasting.
I can't wait. Let's do it. Fire up the pink mask. Yeah.
With or without Annabelle.
Oh my God, remember how she was so aggressive last time. So, you want to talk about our Snaggle trip?
So this week we packed up the Snaggle equipment and took a Snaggle trip to the Filbert Street Garden in south part of Baltimore City this week. The garden is a nonprofit organization that provides education to students of all ages. Basically, it's an urban wildlife oasis. It's a community garden plots, which you can, as we will find out, sign up for. And it's combating something called the food desert.
I was not familiar with this at all.
You would think in the city there's plenty to eat, or Uber Eats or whatever, but not everyone has the money for that. Not everyone has access to transportation or a car. So it's definitely a problem. We sit down with Charles the Barber and Chrissy Fleetwood, as well as Brittany, one of their master gardeners.
Brittany Coverdale.
Yeah, Brittany
not
Coverdale.
related to David Coverdale.
And also get to know some of the animals living in the garden.
It's a kooky good time. I'll tell you what, it's in a pretty tough section of Baltimore City. And what you do when you're in the hood is you try to just blend in. But of course, I find myself at a gas station to get some water. Now I'm wearing the flashiest Vegas shirt you'll see. I'm like, what am I doing? How did I get into this ridiculous situation?
I wore heels, which weren't really great on a farm.
Yeah, you'll see.
Lesson learned.
Well, anyway, so here, check it out. This is our Snaggle trip. So we are with Chrissy Fleetwood at Filbert Street Garden, right? So tell us how on earth this place came to be.
In the middle of the city.
In the middle of the city,
Yeah.
in the forgotten
Yeah.
South Baltimore. So, I wasn't here from the very beginning. I'm in my 3rd season now. I'm the external relations coordinator here. Basically, my job is to go out and get people and bring them here, whether it's big volunteer groups, corporate groups, tours, whatever, schools, field trips. So with that being said, this used to be just a big empty trash lot.
Wow.
Our
Really?
founder, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Our founder, Jason Reed, got in here on an Adopt a Lot program about 13 years ago. And it's just built from there. We started out, obviously we're in Curtis Bay, so we have food desert issues. We've got kids that run around this neighborhood with scurvy because of vitamin deficiencies. They're depending on these mom and pop stores around the neighborhood to get food for the families because closest store is right up on Ritchie Highway, Church Street at Lidl's.
We were looking around trying to get some place to get water. There's not a whole
Yeah,
lot.
there's not a whole lot at all. And then Lidl's is closing in just a week or two. So, you know, now my community is going to lose that grocery store. And a lot of people in this neighborhood don't have any form of transportation. The bus line is very independable, you know, so started out, you know, to try to conquer the food desert issues. Pandemic came around and we noticed that there was some data insecurities too, especially for children who were stuck at home and now they've got to do, you know, online learning and everything. So we now have free Wi-Fi for the neighborhood as well. So, you know, we're here for the community. You know, whatever we can do to help the community, make the, you know, community better. In light of the recent shootings in the Brooklyn homes, we have, you know, we're supporting them. We love them. They're a part of our community, even though we're in Curtis Bay. We were over there yesterday. It's a sad situation, but, you know, they're part of our community. We're going to do whatever we can to make them feel at ease. You know, whatever we can do to help them out through this tragedy.
If you wanted to get a plot here, is there an application process or do you look for some qualifications? So
no qualifications or anything. We actually have 2 master gardeners that you guys are going to meet with after.
My mother is one.
All right. Yeah. This is our first year with master gardeners here, or since I've been here anyhow. And Shara and Brittany are just an absolute wonderful addition to our team. We typically do our plot distribution mid to late March. And we rent out until we have all of our plots filled. We were down some plots this year behind us, which Brittany's Shara's using as her production garden, because we didn't want to have to kick anybody out because we're getting a building later this year that I'm sure Charles will talk to you a lot more about that. It's going to be a great addition to our garden, just to make us more accessible to the community, and we can do more things for the community, bring more people in for field trips, kids, teaching them urban gardening and sustainability. So, you know, mid to late March, we do our plot distribution online. When we open them up, you can go to our website, filbertstreetgarden.org, and there's just a small application on there and, you know, some rules and regulations, but we rent them out for as little as for a 4x4 plot, $5 for the entire year.
Elevated beds, are they all the elevated?
They're all raised beds. It's just a few inches. We're actually looking into, and Brittany will talk to you a little bit more about Nature Sacred. Okay. One of the projects that we were interested in doing is doing some ADA compliant beds. I myself, I'm not too terribly old, but I've got some joint issues, and it would just make it a lot easier because Cheryl will tell you she came in and I'm just sitting in the middle of my plot, weeding, planting, doing whatever. If I had a raised bed that's ADA compliant, it would be much easier. Yeah. If we have folks that want to come in that are in wheelchairs, we'll have that accessibility for them. So it's really exciting for us, this project coming along.
So when did the animals come? Right away, or?
The animals came with Charles, starting with the chickens.
They followed him in.
Yeah.
They let their chickens run around.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all of our birds are free range. We've got about 50 some birds in there now. Various varieties, types, species of chickens, turkeys, ducks. We have lots of ducks, and we have 2 geese, as a matter of fact.
Well, we're going to go around and meet the family later.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to meet everybody. And our goats. Our goats came not long after that. One thing to keep in mind here at Filbert Street, Most of our animals are rescues. Now here recently we've had to get some more birds to kind of even out our ratio male to female. We need to have more females than males because during mating seasons they really tear the girls up. So that's the only time we'll actually buy an animal.
What's the goat's name?
We have 11 of them.
Oh, 11.
Everybody knows Twinkie.
I had a connection with one as soon as I came in. He was standing on the table.
The little yellow and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Twinkie.
Okay.
He's our newest addition. He's about 1.5 years old now. He actually came from a friend of the garden. She's a breeder and she shows Nigerian dwarfs. He was born as a quad. Typically, goats are born as twins because the mom only has 2 teats. He was injured when he was born. He was actually blue and had hip dysplasia.
Oh, wow.
So she fixed him, called Charles. She knew that was Twinkie's best bet at having a great life. So Charles and his wife Stephanie took Twinkie, which was I think our 3rd or 4th foster.
Oh, wow.
And they bottle fed him and they raised him until he was big enough to join the herd.
There are never too many goats.
Never. Charles will tell you differently because we only have 3,000 square feet of goat.
Gotcha.
I say more goats better.
Do they produce milk and do you make
So-
soaps or goat
So
milk
we do their main Nigerian dwarfs can be dairy, but we would have to have a mating female. All of our males are gelded. We have had a lactating female because a couple of our goats have been impregnated when they were here, and that's where a couple of our goats came from. But we don't keep them lactating. Their main objective around here is during the off season, they keep the garden trimmed back for
I
us.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, so people automatically think goats want grass. They don't. They're going to eat your rose bush or your tree leaves before they eat your grass for you. So, we're able, after the growing season's over in November, we're able to let those guys run loose a couple times a week, and they'll clean the fence lines for us. And
Oh, that's nice.
yeah,
We use
it's
that. We
great.
use that at our house.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, we have a couple raised beds.
Uh-huh.
Stace is our master gardener.
All right,
She,
Stace.
We never know what the bumper crop's going to be. The one year we couldn't stop the squash. There was just so much. We were giving it all away.
Oh my
in every
gosh.
And
possible
then
way.
I was
yeah.
working for a restaurant, and right after the pandemic, and we had so many tomatoes.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Our special was gazpacho.
Oh,
Every day, I just brought them tomatoes.
And last year it was habaneros,
Yeah.
which are
We still have
nice.
some in the freezer.
we still have some. And there's just so much you can take because they're so hot.
We had bumper crops 2 years ago in our production gardens of green and red peppers and Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes. Ask Charles about Roma tomatoes because he is the king of Roma tomatoes. They wouldn't stop.
Yeah. We never know what's going to blow up. We
Yeah.
never know.
No.
Yeah.
You want to know who all the worst animals are?
Oh yeah, well, definitely.
I'll
that,
go
yeah.
through the list of them.
Okay, definitely that.
Filbert is worst. Like I just
What is Filbert?
Filbert is the goose. He's the big white goose walking around.
Okay.
He is truly the worst. He's my best buddy, and he'll probably outlive everybody because geese can easily live 30 years. But he's kind of one of our de facto mascots, and he was with the first birds that came here. So he's getting to be about 8 years old now. Still easily has 12 to go. But yeah, I just lost my rooster Buster, who we had for 7 years. Real sweet guy, never chased anybody, took care of his girls, almost got killed by the fox twice defending them.
Wow.
And I lost him, and every time I walk by Filbert, I'm like, should have been you, Filbert.
Yeah, Joe was telling us the cat actually will defend the birds.
She will from time to time. Pumpkin Spice, she's really good at running rats out of the garden. And we do a lot to prevent that as well, because community gardens can easily become a rat haven if they're not properly cared for, especially if you have animals.
Yeah.
If you have open feed, it's a big deal. So we have special feeders here that deter rats and make it more difficult, and also keep wild birds out, because wild birds are the leading way that avian flu spreads.
How often do you have fox problems? I mean,
She comes through every night.
so it's just one,
Wow.
same one every night. Okay.
Oh, it's been the same one for years, and I love Red too. She's technically part of the garden. What she does is she walks the same loop on the cameras we see, looking to see if we left a bird out. And, you know, every so many months, she's right. And she gets a snack, but it's part of her rotation that she does between midnight and 2 a.m.
Wow.
And our automatic door lets them out about 9:30, which is past the latest she's ever been seen, which is about 8. Like, we're pretty safe here because we really, the fox here in the city, urban fox, are really shy. They're not like country fox, where if you have chickens, they'll come in the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't care.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
you're
I've heard
having
that,
something
yeah.
big here on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we are. We are having Filbert Fest.
Ooh.
Filbert Fest is a celebration of Filbert Street Garden, and this is the most special Filbert Fest yet because we are getting the deed to the property after 4 years.
Oh, wow. That's huge news. Yeah.
Back in 2019, DPW was looking to use this site for staging to do work on the tower, and unfortunately to kind of push us out. And they were genuine and we'll set you up in a new home, but the community and us fought hard because we didn't feel it was the right thing, because we, over in that direction, have 3 acres of land that's owned by the city that's not really taken care of. It was under other things such as the school and under housing, but it's like, you know, you guys have a much larger piece of property on the other side, and if you guys fence that in and use that area, it wouldn't be a dumping ground anymore, and we solved 2 problems.
Right.
And the city was very receptive, and we had our city council people, Ed Ratzinger, and his protege and successor, Felicia Porter, who did an excellent job in helping us. We also had great folks such as our delegate, Robin Lewis, and a number of folks that contributed to the garden, and we'll be handing out some awards that day as well, and a lot of thank yous, but there'll be free games for the kids, free food, it'll be a good time.
Free cat petting.
Free cat petting and free goat petting. And I'll put it this way, it almost feels like you don't even get a choice, because Pumpkin Spice is aggressively affectionate. She will accost you until you pet her. In fact, she has a habit of nipping an elbow if you ignore her long enough.
Really, I had a girlfriend like that.
Yeah. Animal husbandry and having a partner are very similar in many ways, if you really think about it. But
I forgot about her.
but I got a bunch of pro tips that won't work. I've tried smoking partners with a bee smoker to calm them down. It doesn't work. Like, apparently it's very unique to bees. I tried throwing corn. That doesn't get them either. Like, so at least some of the skills work though, like talking to them softly, giving them stuff, petting them. Like those things can work, but not so much all of those skills.
So we're a music podcast, and we always talk to black metal guys because there is definitely a thing, and there's even I don't know, are you into black or death metal at all?
A tiny bit, like more so when I was in Iraq about 10 years ago, and we had a straight up metalhead who especially loved Nordic stuff.
Yeah, that's the goat. All the goat lore comes from that part of the world.
Yeah, my friend Zur, who his name was Specialist Zachary Zur. He's out there somewhere, I'm sure, but that guy, that was his opera. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely horns and nature seem to run through black
antlers.
Oh yeah,
all of the above.
There's even a Native American black braid who does quite a bit.
Yeah, he's
nature.
He sings songs about Native American folklore.
Yeah,
and he's based out of upstate New York. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
he's like to tie nature in
It's
there.
like a Norway come to the United States type of thing. Yeah, very cool.
Oh, that's cool. I can see so many things like in nature and even in animal husbandry applying to metal, like the bizarre look of the goats, the rectangular eyes that gives them 360 vision, the horns.
Oh yeah.
The primal nature of these things that I imagine translates into the music a lot of the time in its imagery.
Yeah.
Like even some of the folklore creatures like the Wendigo, like that's pretty metal.
We know that. That was Wendigo.
Yeah. That's pretty metal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is great. Do you have anything else? Or?
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, that's all. I'm primarily punk, admittedly.
Oh, really? Okay.
What's your favorite?
Yeah. What are some of your go-tos?
That's hard, and honestly, some of the things I would call punk, people would laugh at me. Like, by all means, love the Misfits and the Ramones.
Okay, yeah.
But I would say I like Green Day too, and a lot of people are like, is that really punk though? And it's like, well, their earlier stuff, yes, they move more toward new wave, but their tastes evolve with mine. So
I
As
can
long
make
as
a
it-
recommendation to you.
I would love a
The
recommendation.
hip priests out of the UK. You will love them if you love all
The
of
hip
them.
priests?
They're called the hip priests.
Well,
I
you're gonna
promise
get
you,
them
I'll give it.
listening.
I'll give it a chat. I'll give it a try.
Yep.
They have a new album out.
He didn't say Dave Grohl, so that's
No,
a good
that's
thing.
true. So we're with it.
Oh, excellent. Well, I appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for coming out here to the garden.
Now, what's your name?
Hi, my
Brittany?
name is Brittany. Yeah.
Yeah, like my daughter.
Great.
And my mother is a master gardener.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
So tell us how you came to be here.
Yeah.
You got your certification.
Absolutely. So I have a sort of youth development, youth advocacy background. And so that was my the position that I was in right out of college. And so there was a need to sort of create activities and things like that to supplement the programs. And I always just noticed that the kids wanted to be outside. So I created programming around being outside because that is how like I was raised with my grandmother and my mother working in gardens. And so I was like, well, how can I sort of get a certification behind this? And so I found the University of Maryland like extension program, master gardening program through that. And that was really cool because it was a lot of great content there, but I also met a lot of people. And so I was able to build on that like foundation through, I guess I would call it like apprenticeship style learning from people that I met there that was able to build on that. And I had also just had an interest in community gardens, urban farming, and I reached out on Instagram and learned about events that Filbert was having and like brought my godsons and my friends here. So I had a connection to it before I even knew that they were hiring. And then when that sort of just fell in line with really great timing.
So what kind of duties do you have around here as far as the gardens?
Yeah, so I was brought on to primarily manage the community gardens and the community plots. So we have 37 plots that we rent out to community members, residents, people who live nearby. Some people even who don't live that nearby but don't have a growing area closer to them. So I primarily like manage those plots. I manage the installation of our native gardens, our orchard, and I just pretty much help out with all the growing that needs to go on here, as well as, you know, when we have field trips and kids that come, kind of guiding them through that process as well.
Native garden, what does that mean?
Yeah, so native gardens are really focusing on the plant species that were here like before European colonization. And exactly. And so when you focus on those plants, you bring a lot of native species, and so you supplement that the life that is supposed to be here, and the life that helps with the environment. So it helps with air, reduce air pollution. You need to water less. You need to maintain the native spaces less. They attract a whole bunch of pollinators, and they kind of provide that full life cycle as support. And so we have a huge 4,000 square foot native garden. All the native trees that are out there are edible. And then we also have like a edible and medicinal native garden in the back and inside the fence.
What are some native plants to this area?
Yeah, so I was actually just snacking from this tree behind us over here, which is behind this one's an oak, but behind there is an elderberry. And so elderberries are native, echinacea is native, mountain mint, coreopsis, the state flower of Maryland, the black-eyed Susan, is native. And so they have a lot of these. Elderberry is really cool because it has a lot of like, you know, rich medicinal properties.
Yeah.
And it's shown to like lengthen the severity and length of colds when taken like at the first sign of symptoms. And so I think I just wanted to have my contribution to this space sort of be a contribution of food and resources and medicine and knowledge. And so I think I've really been allowed that space here, and that's been really cool.
Now, what's your philosophy as far as, is it organic? Do you use some chemicals? Is it a blend?
All organic, absolutely. The only time we have used a very small amount of chemicals was to spot treat poison ivy, and just because we can't let that get out of control when we have kids around. But yeah, absolutely everything that we grow is all organic. You know, the eggs that we give away for free to the community are organic because our chickens are a free range and eating organic diet. So yeah, that's
Very
definitely
happy.
Yeah, they do. You know, they're not hurting at all. So yeah, my philosophy is, you know, whenever possible, go as natural and as organic as possible and have nature sort of like work together for itself in that like eye of permaculture.
I've lived here all my life, and I didn't know elderberries were native to Baltimore. I would have never known that. I mean, I go back to you talking about being outside. When we were boys, summertime, our parents just kicked us out and said, "We'll see you at lunchtime." You know? And we were just like, "I guess we'll climb trees or something." You know, there was no Facebook then. Play stickball for 6 hours.
Yeah,
you know, that was, being outside was. It was kind of mandatory living in the city.
That's beautiful, and it's cool to have those full circle moments too, where like as an adult you appreciate some of the things that you just like experience freely as a kid. So that's fun.
That's cool. Well, I was hoping that somebody could kind of walk us around and we could film some of the animals. Would you mind doing
Absolutely,
that?
yeah,
That'd
I'd
be great.
Okay. You and your friend.
Then of course she's like, take a look at my ass.
Yeah. She didn't want anything to do with me. She was all about the cat lady. Yep. And this is you scaring geese away. Look at that. He was like, oh, no, thank you. You did not. Oh, Mr. Vegas surrounded by goats, and here they come.
Coming right over.
Yeah.
Look at that. You
Have
you
a way.
made some friends.
I had a way with goats. Impractically, I wore the Marilyn Manson platform boots. Probably not the best choice.
Oh, they're all coming for their scritches
Yeah, they are.
with their erect.
Oh, let's look at the one at the top. It says no climbing. Look, he's up there.
He's up there.
He's
like,
totally up there. Like, I can't read. Yeah. Okay. And then here's the epic holding of the chicken. What was the name? What kind of bird is this again?
That's a silky.
Silky.
Yeah, that's a baby silky. So he hasn't got all his
Look at the talons at the bottom. I pointed them out and it freaked Stace out a little bit.
pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
So, it is a lovely evening here at Filbert Garden in Baltimore. And you've already met most of the players, including a very cool chicken. Was that a chicken that you were holding?
Yes.
Okay. With great talons.
Once
America's Got Talons.
their feathers come in, they will be gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I literally saw a chicken run.
Yep. Okay. So I was thinking a little bit about, I'd slept a little late and a little hungover, and I started to think about at work the inane things that people say to you when you're just like trying to telegraph, please don't talk to me.
It's so bad, especially like if I have to make small talk with the early morning patient.
Small talk. Yeah.
They always want to go,
Chit-chat.
how about them O's? I'm like, I don't watch baseball.
Here's one. What do you think about this crazy weather? That's a good default.
Yeah, everybody talks.
My farmer's almanac has been way off this year. I don't even look at it anymore. Remember, your sister actually.
Yeah, my sister this past winter was telling me how horrible a winter it was going to be, and
according to her farmer's almanac. Apparently, she's friends with Ben Franklin.
Yeah, it was dead wrong. We didn't even get a drop of snow,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
none, zero, zip.
Yeah.
So I think that whole thing is shot in the dark.
And then another chit-chatty item: food is always being discussed. In your office, it starts being discussed at like 9:01.
Oh yeah.
But have you tried the new local restaurant? I think it's called Diabetic Fat Boys All You Can Eat Food Trow. I thought the wine selection was a little lacking, but overall, 5 stars.
I love it when, of course, people are trying to get to their appointments and they're talking about, how about the traffic this morning? I swear it gets worse every day. Maniac drivers. This morning, they were apparently putting some tar on the road when a truck full of livestock jackknifed. The construction workers were tarred and feathered.
Don't say it too loud in this environment.
Yeah, so
But,
we might be tarred and feathered right here.
Yeah, exactly. Are we all going on vacation this year? Where are you going? We're not going anywhere elaborate, just a week and a half in the garden of the Hesperides, mainly because my husband got a great deal on an Airbnb. I mean, we might take a weekend at City of Caesar on Memorial Day. Not sure.
Yeah.
And then there's always the battle over the thermostat in an office. This is always a hot topic of conversation.
We call it women's winter when I used to work at a corporate environment because it was always freezing. There would be a lady that would just walk around in a Snuggie, several people typing in fingerless gloves.
Do you think it's cold in here? I swear someone was messing with the thermostat. I keep adjusting it to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Plus, I have a space heater under my desk. But it's a good thing I have a sweater handy. I'm like, what, do you live in the depths of hell? I mean, how are you still cold?
Maybe she should get the Snuggie thing. That was just great. You know,
The whole
business
idea
suit
of-
with a Snuggie.
The whole idea of air conditioning battling with the heat it's never made sense to me. So.
Well, you know what, though? I think it's all metabolism, whether you're hot or cold. And I have decided I'm going to get in shape. Do you belong to a gym?
Yeah, that's
I've been
sad.
thinking about joining Iron Mike's Cardio Gulag.
Iron Mike's Cardio Gulag. That sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah, they have a really strict program there, though.
Really, a gulag has a strict program? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's what I need to get my butt in gear. I mean, I heard rock breaking is great for the glutes.
That's how Rambo did his, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to tell you, I went to go pay the water bill the other day, and I'm fascinated by corporate things and municipal codes and things like that. So I saw that on Baltimore City's website, they have a tab for licenses and permits.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, this is mad fun. Let's see what kind of shit that they want money for. So did you know that you have to get a permit for an antenna?
Who has an antenna these days?
If you're putting up an antenna for your ham radio show, you have to submit site plans, manufacturer specs, the whole 9 yards. And the fees are based on the value of the antenna. I couldn't find out the actual cost because it's apparently a variable thing. Size matters. What can I say?
You know, but I feel sorry for the crickets in our neighborhood personally. I mean, how in the world will they afford antenna fees when they have two going at all times?
Yeah.
I mean, there
Crickets
are
in our neighborhood are baroque.
They are, and that's probably why they're jumping around all the time.
Yep.
I mean, and chirping. I mean, they're probably chirping about how cheap the government is. I mean, there are over 900 species of crickets in the world, and every single one of these makes their own unique chirp. That's a Believe It or Not.
Wow.
Remember that show? Believe It or Not.
Always with the wildlife you are. Yep.
You know, some experts can tell when out in the field, just listening to the chirp, what kind it is. I bet that makes a scintillating party guest. All right, get out our chirps. Come on, Bill, come over. See if you can guess.
Hello, ladies. So, how about this? If you put up, this one floored me. Temporary tent permit, site plans, flame retardation certificate required, cost based on size, again, variable. They don't want to tell you how much it costs. I see this as the reason why there is not much in the way of scouting anymore. Because how will the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts be able to afford temporary tent permits when they're camping?
I think they mean party tents.
You can't-
Corporate tents.
You can't have a party as a Cub Scout? I see nothing but discrimination here. Here's a good one. Windmill permit. Okay.
Wait, does that apply to like our neighbor has the little pinwheels out front? Does that count as
Site
one?
plans, manufacturer specs are required. This is here we go. So for your mansion from 1812 with a windmill attached, if it pumps water, you need a plumbing permit. If it generates electricity, you need an electrical permit. If you are imitating Pete Townsend, you need a magic bus permit, apparently. I thought this really seems irrelevant.
What? Who is putting windmills on their property? Are we still gray? You know, what if it what if it is a grain mill? Do you need a permit for that?
Have you ever talked to someone at a party and they said, yeah, I'm thinking about putting a windmill in my property?
Only if it's Don Quixote that you happen to be talking to.
Auctioneer's license. $5,000 bond required. All I can say is, any takers? Going once? Going twice? Nope. Oh, and now, makeup artist story.
Yeah, well, I was a makeup artist for years, and just to be at the mall, not even like out, doing wedding photography or something like that, you had to have a card-carrying makeup artist license. It's, I just think definitely you should get the government involved when you're putting mascara and lipstick on. That definitely requires some
If you
kind
get
of
audited, couldn't
licensing.
If they audit you, can you just make something up?
It's like, foundation matching requires a degree. And I used to laugh because my card, said Stacy, beauty advisor.
Nice.
So
That's a
I
title.
can put that on my resume, right?
That's the title.
But you know what? As much tales as I heard doing that job about lack of self-confidence, thinking a certain color lipstick was going to save their life, my title should have been psychotherapist. Philokist psychotherapist.
Kind of like now.
Yeah, really.
Well, on that note, we'll end our merry trip to Filbert Street Garden. This is Mark and Stace signing off, and we'll magically transfer ourselves back to the basement now.
All right. Our sponsor this week is our beloved Coffee AM. They are an online, you can't go to the store, coffee purveyor. They're out of Georgia. They make the best premium coffee, ships FedEx to your door, and it is a rewards program. So over time, you can use those points back towards your purchase. In fact, we cashed in our $5 this week.
All right.
They have a great variety of coffees. This week, we got a Samutra Black Satin, and it tastes as good as it sounds. Of course, they always want to personalize your bag for you if you would like it. Ours is, of course, Mark and Stace. This is a single origin coffee. They also have blends. So you have a wide range of pricing and options to choose from. You can get it. We like ours drip grind, but you can get whole bean if you want to do the extra step of grinding it yourself, or you can get it French press. Another one we got is a Brazilian Cerrado. This is a rich, this is also a single origin. But they have so much to choose from, just pages and pages. And they also have delicious flavors. We went with the orange coconut coffee. I mean, you can't beat it. So I like a little bit of both. It is available, most flavors in regular or decaf. And they'll make you can get half a pound, you can get a full pound, you can mix it up. And it, like I said, it ships out really quickly. Best coffee we've had in a long time, and we've been long-term customers. So use our link and it will save you off your first order from Coffee AM.
Very good.
Oh.
It's time for Collectorbation. Really good one this week. Akadaka, baby. So I'm going to focus on, all right, the early AC/DC records. Very confusing. I've never been a fan. It's kind of like the first Motorhead album where it's hard to keep track. So there's high voltage, and yes, everybody loves TNT and that sort of thing. But a lot of the songs on the first album, so you had and then you had Dirty Deeds came out. I have that one upstairs, but that one's again different versions in Australia versus the US. And then they had 74 Jailbreak came out later, and it was leftover songs that were on the Australia version that didn't make it to the US version. It's all very confusing.
That was management driven.
It was pretty common. The band Sweet had the same problem back in the day. Their Desolation Boulevard was different over in Europe than it was here. Oops, sorry. Sorry, Purdue Junior. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm just gonna skip all that shit and go right to 1977's colossal Let There Be Rock album. Everything about this album is incredible. I mean, I even like the colors, the hands. I'm sure this is not by design, but they look like zombies. See that slight greenish tint?
Oh, wow.
Green tint. Just everything about this album, just incredible. Bonnie Scotland and company just came storming back on this album with copious swagger. They got a couple albums under their belt, a couple hundred shows under their belt. They're in the zone, Star on the Rise. These 8 tracks that sound live, gritty. It's an unfashionable racket of rumbling, crackling blues rock, fronted by a hedonistic hustler, spewing the gospel of the badass with the ease of a summer stroll. Fuck you, Microsoft Word. From the first feedback blare of Go Down, this song's called Go Down. I mean, we're not holding back, apparently. We are goners, all right? Phil Rudd's groove is impeccable. Bon is subtle as a brick through the window, wailing about Ruby's lips on the licking stick. What could he be speaking of? The band eventually slides into a call and response squeal and purr. This is the only album where they do that. They kind of do the humble pie where he'll sing a line and the guitar will mimic it. Really cool. They stopped doing that for the next album. But anyway, just pretty much par for the course. They're a well-oiled machine slamming through track after track of bombastic rock and roll. The title track is a dizzying high point for guitar charged music. The realization and amalgamation of everything cool from cavemen hunting the mammoth up through Chuck Berry. Drop the needle anywhere and achieve enlightenment through passages like The Wisdom of Bon Scott. What I want, I stash. What I don't, I smash. And you're on my list. Or
Sounds like he wants to break some shit.
if this is hell, then you could say it's heavenly. All right, let's play Let There Be Rock. Sorry, we had a lack of powerage there. Okay, moving on. Powerage. Actually, it's Power Age. I remember being in like the 8th grade and having this like almost fisticuffs argument. I said, it's Power Age. What's wrong with you? What are you, communist? They're like, it's Power Age. Power Age. Anyway, I don't really know which is true, but which is right.
This is not Power Aid for sure.
No. So there's a little more light and shade on this 8-song Electric Storm. 78's Power Age is chock-a-block with frenzied rockers, raucous blues stomps, and touches of boogie and funk, all of it bolstered by the megawatt old-school charms of Bon Scott. Bon's flair for bad luck and hard-living narrative is on full display for the duration of this colorful record, in the form of relatable songs, full of classic lines like Down Payment Blues. He says, feeling like a paper cup floating down the storm drain. Then there's What's Next to the Moon, Clark Kent looking for a free ride, thinking about Lois Lane. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a suicide. Angus's hyperactive blues shredding, along with Phil Rudd's peerlessly simple beats, round out a sound that would have become legendary with scorching fare like Riff Raff and the superbly funky Gone Shootin'. It's all tales of boozing, gambling, wicked women, living on a shoestring, and bad decisions, told by a character that lived it all, and he's backed by one shit-hot band. It almost seems surreal listening to music in 2023. People complaining about bad cell phone service and the slowness of Uber Eats, like it's the end of the world. This was the genuine article, rock and roll played by a real band that weathered the storm. So let's play Riff Raff. Akadaka. Okay. Want to introduce the interview?
This is our interview with Vermillion Whiskey with Jason and TJ. We had a great chat with these guys. Love their soaked in blues, groove, riff music. Amazing. Got to get these guys out of Louisiana eventually. Like I said, had to get the shirt. You can get yours on their band page. But in the meantime, let's find out a little bit more about Vermillion Whiskey.
You can have the shirt. The tits are mine. All right. Okay, we are recording. Great. Well,
So we have really been enjoying Crimson and Stone.
yes, we have.
Awesome.
To the point, yes, I've also been stalking you, and yes, I bought a shirt. So
Good.
I'm excited.
I
Every
heard
time
you
the
bought
show
the
comes-
last. I heard you bought the last of one of our shirts there, so I really appreciate.
That's a cool
Oh
design.
my God. Yeah, I had to have it. So hope maybe by the time we actually do the show, I'll have it. That'd be awesome.
That would be great to show that off. Yeah.
It's probably going to be a little bit because we had a bunch of interviews in the hopper because my son just got married, and it was like I knew it was going to get like crazy. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, what is Vermillion Whiskey? Like, where did that name come from? I know I've enjoyed quite a bit of whiskey in my day, but
Uh-huh.
the word vermilion is new to me. So
So vermilion is French for the color red.
Hmm.
And here in South Louisiana, where we're located in Lafayette, we have a river called the Vermillion River, and you'll see a lot of things associated to this area with the name Vermillion in it. So we figured what better way to represent where we're from, and at the same time have a whiskey attitude about it,
Yeah.
and but that's where it comes from, the Vermillion River.
There's a Black Star Riders lyric that says, "The whiskey comes in and the devil comes out." I always
Right.
love it. That's a great one. I think Scott Gorham wrote that actually. Yeah.
I couldn't find any Vermilion whiskey. I had to go with the Vermilion wine. So
It's
We
very
do-
Vermilion. Yeah, very
We
Vermilion.
have a very limited. There's 3 bottles that are out there. The first one went to Mr. Tommy Buckley, who recorded the drums with us on this album, who's also plays with Crowbar. I used to play with Soylent Green.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he did, after we got done and wrapped, we presented to him the very first bottle of Vermilion whiskey.
Oh, cool.
And at the listening session, we did brought out the second bottle of Vermilion whiskey to give to OCD Studios, Mr. Dwayne Semino. He recorded Crowbar as well, so we figured, we'd already lined up recording at the studios. Anyway, before we knew Tommy Buckley would be the guy doing the drums with us. But long story short, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, we captured, the same sound in the studio with the same drummer that's, been working together for a while. So it was a no-brainer. But long story short, he got bottle number 2. And then at the Get Down CD release party that we did a few months back to record our video for the Get Down, we gave away as one of the door prizes bottle number 3 of Vermilion whiskey to some lucky fan out there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So there's a few. We're not in the whiskey bootlegging business, but we're we have a few out there.
Speaking of Crowbar, it's funny that we interviewed Sammy from Goat Whore not that long ago, and I asked him a question. I was rattling off all these names. I'm like, I hate God, and COC with Pepper and Down, and I said, what is it with New Orleans or Louisiana and these great bands? And he goes, "You're naming all the good bands. You haven't named any of the shitty ones. There's tons of shitty ones." It was like the best answer. He's like, "Consider yourself lucky. You haven't heard any of the shitty ones." Yeah.
Well, I think one of the cool things about musically here is that, like, I'm in my mid-40s now, and I remember growing up idolizing these bands from Louisiana that were king shit of fuck mountain for what they did. They still are today, and it's pretty cool. Like, anytime I talk to anybody around the world about music from here, you do get all the best names, the best bands at the top there, but they're they put in so much blood, sweat, and tears into their work way back then. They still are now. That's a testament as to just the type of, I don't want to say musicianship, but it's almost like just like a family. Because that's really how the music scene down here feels, is just like a big
the
family.
consistency. Very consistent. Yeah, I like that about these bands like Soylent and Goat Whore. And it's very consistent.
Well, and I think you guys, like, I heard the album and I really loved it. And then I went on YouTube and I watched you guys performing, and I'm like, wow, that puts it over the top. It's just, you guys put every bit of everything, every single person, their hair is flying, and it's an amazing thing to see, and it just, that performance level just kind of takes it to the next peg. And I was like, wow, these guys are impressive. But your sound has been, kind of like, I can definitely hear Southern rock, but there's a lot of other genres sprinkled in there. How would you describe your signature sound blend?
I'd say a rockin' whiskey fueled, sort of in the middle of a metal sort of genre, because there's a lot of chug, there's a lot of chunk, but we're not, we kind of almost have a bluesy sort of feel to and I don't know if that's the Southern thing, because we're not trying to make it sound a certain way. That's just kind of a representation of us musically, what we like to play, what we listen to, just it somewhere's in that vein between. I think that's also a good representation of where we're from, because Lafayette isn't big enough to where there's a good punk scene, a metal scene, a hardcore scene. You know, we're just a scene. So it's a nice mishmash melting pot of a lot of bluesy guitar licks, but still sludgy enough to have a metal-ish feel to it. But we're not we've definitely never said, oh, that's not this enough, or that's not that enough. It's always just kind of going for something that has a groove to it and a feel to it, and just kind of something we at the end of the day enjoy playing. And the writing process is lots of times there's some thought put into riffs beforehand, but a lot of times we're writing stuff here in the studio together, you know, and jamming stuff out. So I think it's cool to hear you say that you really like watching the live show, because I feel like a lot of the energy comes from the songs themselves, you know, because this is the environment we wrote it in. We wrote it bouncing our heads around, you know, having a good time, you know. And it's one of those things where I can't play a lot of the riffs unless I am like physically doing this sort of dance thing, you know, to try to slap,
great. Yeah,
you know, stuff in the right way. So it just
what's the scene like in Lafayette? Because that's not close to New Orleans, really. I mean,
we're about 2 hours from New Orleans and
Yeah.
4 hours from Houston. So we get a lot of the bands that are on an off day or just passing through to New Orleans or to Houston, or on their way to Muddy Roots, or Ripple Fest. You know, sometimes we'll get bands coming in and out, but it's a lot more on the metal side, I'd say, than any other sort of rock band, you know, sort of scene that's out there. I remember back in the 90s, you know, there wasn't a lot of metal happening around here, and now that's pretty much all the live music has turned into mostly metal, in some form or fashion, or some sort of loud music with usually citrus colored cabinets and amplifiers, you know. And
yeah.
it's small enough to where there's only a handful of venues that have been doing the thing long enough, I think, to where the type of music was just kind of molded off of the types of venues that were available. And we just happened, like through the pandemic and even before that, we just had, you know, a few metal bars open around town that were still letting people play shows and do that sort of thing. And we of course are very famous for Cajun music and for Zydeco. Oh, look, here comes TJ.
Okay. Very good.
Here,
Zydeco. I love Zydeco. I think that is fascinating.
it's
Yeah.
It's something that you can't get. I don't want to say get away from, but it is definitely a big part of our sound too, because that's what we grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
Here we go.
So fuckers. Hi.
Hey, there he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yay, great.
Hold on. This isn't right. Let me get rid of this.
Get rid of the. Don't want to have to pay for.
Yeah, right. I don't want to have to tape.
Don't want to get y'all in trouble for
Domino's logo.
Yeah, we can't. You know, they've got more money than we do. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just a little
They need to
bit.
pay me some more of it.
I hear you.
How's it going?
Great.
Really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Sorry for being late. Apologize.
No, it's okay. It's we're just glad to have you at all. So.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we were just talking about how so many styles is incorporated in your sound, and how great you are as a live. Just blew me away, you know. And I hopefully I'll be able to get to see you live. But I mean, just the stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And especially when you did that mix up with Astrophy, that was such a cool mix. You know,
yeah.
and I can almost hear a little grunge in that song too, but it's just so much going on. And how did you put all those clips together? Because it was a great representation.
You mean like video wise?
Yeah.
We usually have a lot of cameras going, or try to get some sort of documentation, you know, if anything, just
There's
for our own.
Yeah, there's usually at least 2 to 3 cameras as far as people shooting, pro shot, whatever. And then we usually have a bunch of friends that have cell phones or their own cameras shooting B-roll. We've discovered that content is the way to go. I mean, everybody knows content's the way to go, and just shoot everything, film everything, and just have a lot of B-roll. And then we could just in post, we could just take it all and put it together. Our guitar player Ross, man, he gets on the computer and cracks out on it and puts it together, and he just has that vision, kind of share that vision for what we want. He'll give us a rough draft and say, hey, what y'all thinking? And this could be a little more busy here or there, and it just comes out good.
It's definitely been a learning tool for us too. Like when we started working with Tommy in the studio, we had never played with him before, so it was literally show up. We had 6 practices with the guy.
We practiced 4 or 5 times in a year with him. We rehearsed the album, and then we were ready for the studio.
So we've always kept a lot of video around just for the sake of referencing things, because we're not the type of band to where we get together every day and do stuff all the time. So cool side effect of that is when we do get enough content, usually we're also put up something we don't know about it. It's just, hey, look what I did.
Right. And the first 2 albums, it was just like, it's a learning curve every time we do another album and we release something else. And it was that there was a bunch of people saying, just do more content, shoot more stuff, and just make sure you document everything. And that's kind of what we've been doing. It's been working out for us. We've got now this year with this new album, we've got more content than we've ever had before. And it's kind of paying off. It's showing. We've seen results from it.
And Ross has always been the type of guy to give back to his scene by being the guy that goes out and records stuff with camera, then gives it to other bands too. So
he records anytime we have a local show and he's able to go. He's there shooting. Or bands that he really wants to see and get footage of. And he doesn't charge them anything really. Just here's something to help you guys out.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of my favorite tracks, and I like how you explain at the beginning of that it's about this boredom and this need to create. Because I mean, we get that as well. But
and we were down and out. We had a hiatus. Lineup changed. Some guys quit the band, and we didn't know what to do. It was down to me and Ross. Do we keep going? Do we shut it down? What do we want to do? And we took a chance. We took a gamble, and that we got that old feeling back again. And that's what that whole song is about.
That's great. Yeah, I really liked the song Dissonance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's our opus, man.
Yeah, can you tell me about some of the background and the themes in that song? Because I mean, there's a lot going on there.
There is. The best way I could explain it is it's open for listener interpretation.
Okay.
You apply it to however it makes you feel, and it honestly, admittedly, it's just a lot of different things that came out in a time where I was going through some shit, I mean, we all do. And the way it came out, it wasn't necessarily about the event specifically or events specifically. It just was an overall amalgamation of the way I felt and the whole, I tried to broaden it quite a bit and that's what came out, and different people have come to me and said different things about how they feel about it and how it applies to them in their situations and stuff. And I love that.
It pulls you in. It does. There's a lot of emotion to it. Yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
And that was the thing. I had that little intro with the with that chorus pedal, and that's kind of what started it. Yeah. When that chorus and stuff came in, that verse came in, that riff kind of what started it. And it was a dissonant riff, and that's why I named it Dissonance. I wanted something big and open. I had Deftones vibes flowing through me all day.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, oh man, I want this to be big like Minerva, Yeah. They're in the desert with those lights and just and it kind of touches on it, but not too much. It's our own. I feel like it's our own thing.
Well, the vocals are just soaring in that song.
Thank you.
Unreal. Yeah. Reminded me a little bit of JB from Grand Magus, if you know who that is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the guitars, it was almost like it was reaching prog metal levels. Really was.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is the 3rd album, so how is it going in terms of like, is it getting easier? Is there just always like different problems with every album? Like, how is it album 3 versus like album 1 in terms of ease?
Well, he wasn't here for the first two, but for me personally, it has gotten easier.
Okay.
It definitely helps to be working with people who are a little more professional, a little more like-minded. Obviously working with Tommy was great. He was professional through and through. And funny thing, him and I have a lot of the same ear. We were in the studio, and we were hearing things. We were listening back to everything to see. We're comping the tracks to see imperfections where we want to. Last ditch effort. We want to change this. If we got to go change this drum part, we got to do it now. And
right.
And he would look at me and I would look at him because it was like we both heard it, but nobody else heard it.
Wow.
And it was like, so you learn those different things about different people. Each album's a new experience. Each album is, a learning experience, and it does get easier for sure because you know a little bit more about what you're doing, and you tend to learn a little bit more about what you want too.
Right.
As far as the sound goes.
Yeah, on this one, I felt like the production was so crisp you could really hear every single layer.
The production was amazing.
Yeah.
The engineer, the producer on this album, Dwayne Simoneau, he's a fucking wizard. I've never seen anyone manipulate a doll like I've seen this dude. I'd start to ask him for something, and he's like, "Don't worry, Daddy got you," and he's just and he just does it, and it's awesome. Like, oh, that's exactly what I meant. It was great.
And it's funny when he would act like he couldn't do something. He was like, I don't know. Let me click. All right, go.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can do it with my eyes closed, chewing bubblegum over here, and it's just amazing. Working with professionals, working with people who share the vision and just get it. They just get it, and it's so much better. We're the most improved, best version of this band we're gonna be at this point.
That's great.
So I'm sure it was great working with Tommy, but then it looked like you guys were like putting up advertisements for a drummer. How did you get to Wade Perkins?
We were deciding what we want to do for a drummer. We auditioned a bunch of different guys, just didn't work out. And in the process of auditioning all those guys, we basically finished writing the album. And then and we really had a feel for what we wanted drum wise. And we said, man, we're ready to record this thing. What are we going to do? Let's ask Tommy if he wants to do it, So we did. And literally in that same process, like, I don't know if we jammed with him once or twice before, but Wade hit us up on Facebook just out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
And we were actively looking, and he hit us up. He's like, hey, man, he hit Ross up. And they ended up talking, I think he said for an hour or two over the phone, just about music and stuff. And he's an older guy. He's been around for a long time. He's played everything from country to, I don't know if you know what swamp pop is and stuff like that. It's the local stuff. Mm-hmm. Cajun, Zydeco music, stuff like that. He's been around for a while and knows his stuff. He does what we call the Taco Circuit. He plays with these bands, and they do these Mexican restaurants and stuff and different parties and stuff, and they just play cover tunes, and they make a good bit of money doing it. And it's just a bunch of older guys who just jam out, and he loves it. It keeps his chops up, and when he gets in here, he's just ready to go.
And he's definitely a musician.
He's a musician for sure.
Just so much more than just a guy playing drums, because he'll just coming from so many different genres and playing all the different types of music, he brings so much to the table.
He has that ear too.
We were so used to like, okay, new drummer, we're gonna try it out. Let's hand feed you all this stuff, and hopefully. Right. When we would play with from people,
he picked up on it
right away. And so since it all happened around the same time that we were working with Tommy, he actually came into the studio with us during the recording process. And I don't see how we would have done it without him being there.
He was there. He helped Tommy. Tommy helped him. And we all learned it. Like, he learned the music, the intricacies, the ins and outs. And he learned about Tommy's playing. He never heard Crowbar. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know really who Tommy was. We kind of showed him, but he didn't. And, so it was a learning curve for him, and he loved it. He was a kid in a candy store the whole time. And they clicked and we're all brothers, man. Like, we're tight as a tick's ass now at this point.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's awesome.
I have a Zydeco question. So I I saw a guy playing Zydeco, and he had
On the
on
video?
like the Rob Zombie hat, and he looked just like Hendrix, and he set his accordion on fire. Is that unusual, or is that all the songs were about voodoo and stuff? Is that how all
I
Zydeco?
wouldn't say it's a voodoo thing. I haven't seen anybody set an accordion.
I think we
accordion on
need to
fire.
go do that.
Yeah, man.
It was really
Seems like an
cool.
expensive night.
I think most people we know value their accordion too much to set them on fire.
Well, this might have been
Um,
like a Goodwill accordion or something. I don't know. But...
Yeah,
You don't see people cutting up that like that.
yeah,
So
that's
much.
showing out. That's straight peacocking right there. That's
Literally,
that.
yeah, it was. It was literally like it was
Now he was
Hendrix.
having a good time.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
Hendrix with an accordion. So, all right. So I did see something a little bit special then. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Consider yourself lucky to see that one. I never seen that. I saw Wayne Toops in handcuffs at the Karen Crow Fairgrounds. Man, that was crazy. They
Oh
come
my
locked
God.
him
Well,
up
talk
while
about
he was
that.
on
What was
stage.
that
And he
all
was
about?
like, "I'm keep playing."
That's great.
I love the details that you guys have put in, like the little spoken word parts that sound like they're probably from an old movie. And I especially like to you get to hear one end of a booty call for Good Love. And I
Oh.
love
Hey, that's totally relevant. That was that song is about point in time where I was hanging out with this young lady, and she'd show up early in the morning, and and we do our thing. And it was just and not everything describes her. It was just kind of like, so she didn't have long legs and pointed fingernails, all this crazy edges. It was just kind of like that woman aspect, It was
Yeah.
sharp eyes and
Yeah.
kind of
was-
came together.
Yeah.
I
It
was
comes through.
surprised. We
Yeah.
talked to Ronnie from Kicks, and I was convinced that Rosie, was a real person, but he's like, no, it was a conglomerate.
Yeah.
Was Beth even real?
Yeah. Exactly. It's not even real.
I get a feeling yours is based on real events.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
awesome.
sort of tell. Yeah.
I mean, I've always liked to do that kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff too, anyways, man. Like that, innuendo kind of.
Oh yeah.
That's rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
All
Very,
day.
very much. Yeah.
Did the snippets come from some old movie? Because at first I was
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Ross had found them, and I don't know where he got them from. I'm not sure what movie. I'd have to ask him. I know he has a bunch of different sites or something where you could find B-roll audio and video and stuff like that that you can use for free on different things. And I personally went through a bunch of different stuff and couldn't find anything I really liked. And when he showed me that, I was like, "That's cool. That's cool. Sounds cool."
yeah,
Kind of set the tone.
it shows a lot of good, you guys focus so much on intros and outros. Sometimes on the outros, it's that Melvin one note feedback drop, so.
Yeah, it's we pride ourselves on writing songs. It's a song's got to have a good solid backbone. The way you start it and the way you finish it is very important. There's a lot of bands out there they don't. All right, let's go, and they don't. There's no structure to it. At the same time, I hate whenever songs just verse chorus. We got to mix that up too. I like writing songs. I like writing good songs, telling a story.
Yeah, there are some that will hit you over the head with the chorus so many times. You're like, ow, ow, all right.
Yes, exactly. But if it's good, repeat it a few times and then hang it up. Hang it up to dry.
Yeah, agreed. So for the video for Confidence, loved it. I noticed you weren't playing guitar during it.
That's the one song on the album I don't play. I didn't play guitar on. I don't play guitar live either. I just sing it. That song was actually written before we had our lineup change. It was pretty much finished, and before I only did vocals and bass, second guitar, and drummer had quit, and so in that lineup change, I picked up the guitar and said, "Well, I'll pick up the guitar. Let's do it. I'll step up to the plate." And because I helped write some of the riffs for the second album, but I never played guitar on any of it.
Yeah.
I started on guitar and fell into doing vocals, and I kind of wanted to, pick it back up and get my chops back up and shine as a guitar player a little bit more too, you know.
Yeah.
And just whatever I needed to do to help out the band, obviously.
It was nice to see your vocal delivery in that one, because so many other ones, all you see is hair flying, which is a good thing. Believe me, I'm
Right.
into that. But sometimes I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a 9.5 hour video shoot that
Wow.
we did at a performing arts like theater here. Where they do plays and stuff like that here in downtown Lafayette, and it was a really cool experience. That was another one of those learning experiences where, you know, that was our first time doing a legit video shoot. The majority of the time was spent setting up.
Oh.
A lot more time setting up than it was just shooting.
Anyway.
But I love your artwork on this.
You can adjust that one.
And also your logo is amazing.
Yeah, who came up with the VA? That's so cool. It looks like almost like a cattle skull type of thing.
Oh, the just a simple VW
I'm
logo.
sorry, VW. The VW. Yeah, who came up with that? That's so cool.
I'm not exactly sure on that one. It might have been Kyler Sharp.
Hmm.
Yeah, it might have been Kyler Sharp. I'm not. That's a Ross question. It's one of those.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
But that's definitely one of my favorite. That and the Skull de Lis. It's
Yeah.
a skull, but it's also a fleur de lis.
That's awesome.
I love it to death. That was actually something we came up with early on. We brainstormed about it, and we had somebody do it. I want to say Kyler did that. And we were like, "Oh, who wants to get this?" Blah blah. I said, "Dude, I'll get this fucking thing tattooed on me. I don't give a shit. I love it." And our other guitar player at the time paid for it, and I got it done.
That's great.
I love it.
And you had it so handy. That was perfect. You're like, look, it's right here. I mean,
Wow,
you couldn't have been more on the spot, you know. Like,
I've got it on my guitar picks as well that I use.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. That looks really amazing.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Did Kyle do the artwork for the front album cover?
Steven Yoyada.
Ah.
Hmm.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, again, yeah.
I love the trailing smoke and
The way he's
I had
got gray in
the
the
idea
beard
for
and-
that. What if we do a blacksmith? You know, the
Yeah.
sword, the weapon is this album. The weapon is this whole thing. You know, we're forging ahead and
Yeah.
building this thing up.
No, I get it. That's great. Perfect. Yeah.
What should we do our game?
And then on the back cover, I don't know if you've seen the back cover.
I haven't yet. No.
He's on the top of the mountain with the sword in the sky.
Yeah.
Just, oh, yeah. Hey, but it's really small. It's you gotta notice it.
I saw you got like 6 different vinyl splatters of it. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
5
selling
different
good?
colors.
Is the vinyl moving pretty good?
Is there a color that
It
sells better?
is.
Yeah. Okay.
It is. I think we had sent a bunch to Cosmic Artifacts in Germany and Europe, and we've sold like 20 or so so far.
We're almost sold out of those.
Yeah, we're almost sold out. We sent 25 and sold 20. And I'm not sure, that was like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Y'all
So I'm
got to
not
do.
sure.
Y'all got to do like Metallica. Just buy your own vinyl factory, and then you'll be set, right? Yeah.
Well,
just-
we pressed in New Orleans Record Press right down the road from us in
That's
New
awesome.
Orleans, and it was great to be able to just go pick them up instead of having them shipped because it costs so much to ship.
Oh, I
those.
know. It's insane. I know.
It's
Yeah.
To ship $4,000 worth of vinyl is not easy.
Oh God.
No, not post COVID, especially. No. Yeah.
No, and they gave us a tour of the facility and everything. It was it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's great.
Turnaround was only about a month or so, where
Yeah,
some
it
people
wasn't
are
long
waiting
either.
upwards of a year to get.
Yeah, we were
Stuff
quoted
priced.
long time with other companies to get them back, and
That's really good because we don't hear that a lot. We hear a lot of the bands that we interview. They say our vinyl's on back order because there's such a backlog. You know.
Or I'll buy the record in January, and they're like, "Yeah, we can mail it to you in March." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
yeah, because of the backlog. Because
yeah,
the big sellers get first priority, like all the Adele and the
Yep.
Billie Eilish and
Right,
shit.
right.
Yeah.
we need more record presses. We need more.
Yeah, we
record
do.
presses.
We do. Absolutely.
You guys have a big fan base in Europe. Is there any particular
It's
country?
growing.
Yeah. Is there any country in particular where you have like the most intense fans?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know if we got the numbers on that yet. I'd
Okay.
like to know that though. I definitely would. I remember when we did our first album and we put it out digitally, we were able to go see who was stealing our music digitally in other countries. And we're like, oh, this dude in Russia, man, it's
Had to be
downloaded.
Russia.
We're like, we don't even care, dude. This is awesome. I think it's awesome to be able to have some recognition across the pond. That's somewhere we definitely would love to go at some point.
Yeah. Of all albums to steal, they stole ours. That's so great, right?
They like American heavy
Southern
music.
rock, yeah,
They like
exactly.
Southern rock music. If you get a chance, there's a review this guy did. He was from Europe, and it was just a video of him with the headphones on, jamming it out and talking about it, and he was just going to
That's so
town,
cool.
man. And the way he just, it was, yes, I love it. He's
Somewhere
like,
there's a
purely Southern.
There's a Russian gulag where Molly Hatchet is blaring somewhere, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, well, we have a game we play. Let's play our game.
All right. So we do this with every guest, and you guys are lucky enough. We had to redo the questions because we thought they were getting stale. So you get a brand new set.
Yep.
Awesome.
I have 100 questions. So each of you are going to pick 3 numbers. So don't worry. You only have to answer 3 questions, and they're very random.
Between 1 and 100.
Sometimes silly and very
3 numbers between 1 and 100. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
7. Pick one.
15.
69.
The popular one.
Pick 69 is hilarious.
42.
50.
1.
Okay.
All right.
100.
Can we keep on picking numbers?
Yeah,
No, I said you got 3 apiece. 3 apiece is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, TJ, we'll start with you. Number 7. What is the make and model of your first car?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
My first car. The first car I was able to actually drive and license to drive and
Legally.
and insure was a 1987 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Brom that I bought for $350 with 89,000 miles on it.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
It's a very detailed answer.
It was a boat, it was a slab, and it was a great old car.
I thought he was having problems remembering, and then he just told us everything about it.
Technically, the first vehicle I bought was a S10 Blazer, but I never drove it. I bought it for $100 and was never able to fix it, and that was gone.
The passenger door, you had to lift and jig a little bit to open it up, and the ashtray didn't really work. Yeah, so many details, you know. Yeah. Tail signal on the right hand side didn't work out too well. I kept replacing the goddamn bulb. Yeah.
All right. Well, we may have covered this, but number 69. How many tattoos do you have?
Yeah.
How many do I have?
Yeah.
Let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 10. Oh, 11.
Ah, there we go. I like the 666. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Destroyer 666, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
A friend of
I
mine
interviewed.
did that. She was a really cool person, and she got murdered, stabbed to death.
Oh,
Oh my
jeez. Yeah.
God.
R.I.P.
Yeah. When I was going through my divorce, my ex wanted to know about my tattoos, like what I had gotten. And I finally realized that she just thought some of them might be making fun of her.
Wow.
So I finally said, none of them are for you. And that was
Paranoid much.
Yeah,
I got an
exactly.
acid bath
I was like,
tattoo.
I wasn't thinking of you when I picked these. No. So.
Can they see that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Acid Bath demo album from '93.
Wow.
Acid Bath, another awesome NOLA band. Yep.
The guy, I don't know if you ever heard of Sabbatic Feast.
No, I don't think I know that. What's the name of the band?
Sabbatic Feast.
Yeah. That's awesome.
They're from here in Lafayette, like one of the only death metal bands from the '90s that come out of Lafayette.
That's so cool.
Anyways, I know we know the guy who did the original artwork for that Acid Bath album. This artwork that's on the leg. I paid
Well, the
20
one's
bucks for
got-
this tattoo, and years later he's like, "Oh, I could have did that for you."
Well,
Damn.
pagan terrorism tactics is John Wayne Gacy, right?
Kite string.
Ah, yeah. No, kite string is John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah,
That's
when
right.
the kite string pops.
Kite string, yeah.
All right, number 50. What is
Sorry, I
your
didn't mean to go off on a
usual-
tattoo tangent.
No, it's okay. We asked for it.
We do ourselves sometimes, quite often.
Check out my tats, man.
Number 50. What is your usual breakfast?
Usual breakfast? Oh man. Well, right now I deliver for Domino's, obviously. So I'll grab something, when I usually fuel up in the morning, I'll grab something in Circle K or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I get those Danishes sometimes. It's terrible. It's terrible. I try not to eat too many sweets or anything like that, but every
Yeah.
once in a while, like maybe once a week, I'll get one of those. With those roll up things, those buffalo chicken roller grill things.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Really good.
guilty pleasure right there.
That's what I crave, like after a couple beers, 10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah.
I'm tired of pizza, man.
I don't blame you. Yeah, you're surrounded by it. Yeah.
We went to Royal Farms. I think we were a little tipsy. We went in there to get some food, and somehow I ordered a large and a small dip with my sandwich, and he didn't say anything. He's like, "All right, I guess she wants a lot of dip."
Yeah, she ordered like a quart
Dip
of
it up.
a quart of cheese. Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird that a large and a small, like you figured out exactly the right amount.
Right when she ordered it, when she hit both buttons, I was like, "Oh my, this is gonna be a fun night."
Mm.
Yeah.
He's like, after I ordered, he's like, "You got 2 dips." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, we were definitely drunk that night. Yeah.
All right, so moving over to the other side, Mr. Jace. Number 15. Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Definitely a night owl,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Are you a sleep in kind of guy? Like,
Very much so.
okay.
It's even on the road.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I'm shaking my head. Yes,
Yeah.
that dude was sleeping, man.
Yeah, I have to get up early, and I hate
Yeah.
it. It is totally against everything in me.
She's a night owl, and
God.
I'm an early bird, but I'm not an obnoxious early bird. I'm okay.
You see him on stage though, and you realize why he needs all that rest.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, number 42. Do you let people eat in your car?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to think about it, but
Yeah, for a second I was like,
Yeah.
guess it might depend on how much cheese sauce they got with.
did they get the large and the small?
They have a quart of it. Yeah, I know.
I draw the line at just the large. You're gonna have to.
I had to drive a guy at work from to the airport, and I knew he hadn't had a bite all day, and it was like 2 p.m, and he had his food with him, and he was just sitting there, and I said, "Dude, you can eat," and he goes, "I can eat in your car. That's wonderful." Yeah. He was being
some
so
people
polite.
are particular. If I had a brand new vehicle, I mean, adults, kids, no, you can't eat in my car. Hard French fries in the seats and shit. No, man.
Right, I know. Gummy bears down it. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah.
Chocolate melted for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. not
Oh,
that. Yeah.
All right, number 1 you picked. Have you ever binged watch a series? If so, which one?
Which one I did last is what I'll tell you.
No, yeah.
The Golden Girls was the last.
fuck yeah, dude.
The last thing.
I don't think I've ever heard "fuck yeah" for the Golden Girls. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. That is did you know there's another series called Golden Palace that came out after? That's actually what I last binged was Golden Palace. So it's them after selling the house, running a hotel with Cheech.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God. I do
Yeah.
kind of remember.
I never saw that.
Yeah. Check it out.
Leave it to you to find some shit.
Yeah. We watch a lot of like horror stuff and Walking Dead type stuff. And there's some shows where it'll be like a Tuesday night at like 11:30 and we got to get up at 6:30 next morning. And I'll be like, all right, one more.
And my first patient is at 7:45.
Right.
I'm like, oh, let's go.
And it ends up being 2 more and 3
Here
more.
comes the sun through the window.
Yeah.
Shit.
Like, Breaking Bad was like that. All right, one more. Yeah.
All right. So check this out. I think we need to get you guys out in the world. So I have come up with a great marketing plan for you. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we should put you on a big tour with someone who's older but established. I pick ZZ Top. Okay. So we'll put you out with them and Clutch and send you guys on tour. What do you think?
Okay.
My bag's packed already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Most
think that
people
would be a
say
winner.
most people would say COC, but
Yeah, I heard that.
yeah, we're down with ZZ Top. We actually did a Dusty Hill tribute show concert here in Lafayette. Before we got the wheels rolling on this album and stuff.
It was our first show. It was
Our
my
first show
with
with
the band
him.
and with Wade. Wade had just
Yeah,
joined.
with Wade, and my first show playing guitar with the band and everything, and we learned a bunch of ZZ Top tracks and did them Vermillion Whiskey style.
That's great.
It was cool. There's footage of that online somewhere if you want to go find it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the bass player now is, I think, Dusty's roadie, and they had his full permission to replace him. It's really
Kicking
well
ass.
done. Yeah, really
That's
awesome.
what I've heard. Yeah, they're kicking ass.
Yeah,
I love ZZ Top.
That was my first rock concert.
I
My
would
first
be-
concert
Really?
altogether was
I'd
ZZ
be
Top.
honored to
really.
tour with
Like
fucking.
what album was it? What album do you?
Whichever one had Pincushion on it, and I can, because I remember that being the video that was out at the time.
Is that
Right.
Recycler?
I think so.
I saw
every
them on
time-
Recycler tour, and they had the whole like junkyard on stage where they would go into the trash compactor, and then it pulled out dummies that looked like them and took them
Oh,
across
man,
and
that's
dropped
neat.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, just that was, and it was also the year that the Black Crows opened for them and like trash talked them and got kicked off. It was the
My
weirdest
God.
thing. Like they, yeah. And who does
saw
that
them-
to who does that to your, the band that takes you on the road? I don't know.
I saw them with Jackal, and for the last song, the singer mooned the stage and ran across, and he got arrested for doing that.
Nice.
But Jackal and ZZ Top
Jackal and ZZ
Oh,
yeah.
Top. That's a good night. Yeah.
rode a mechanical bull, played the chainsaw, and
Yeah.
Yeah, just I was thinking because we interviewed Thunder Mother and they had come out over. They're from Sweden, but they came to the United States with the Scorpions. So I was like, who would I put you with? And then it just came to me in a dream.
Corpse.
Yeah. That's great. Mm.
All right, so I love your tour poster, and that was a Kyler Sharp with all the eyeballs on it. I work for an eye doctor.
Oh,
How did
nice.
How did that concept come into being? I love it.
That was actually a poster that it's funny you say that. That was actually a poster that was meant to be for Clutch, I believe.
it was
Wow.
for Mastodon.
No, Mastodon.
Mastodon. Okay. Yeah.
It was something that he did for Mastodon, but then he had something else that he made that he thought was a better idea for him. So he had it laying around, kinda, and offered it to us. And we looked at it and we're like, yeah, man, this is
Yeah.
cool,
Really cool. Yeah.
eyeballs and
Yeah. Can't beat that. Yeah.
So-
Can I ask a personal question about optometry?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Does it feel cultish?
Well,
With all the eyeball stuff, it just I've
It-
always
yeah.
it always just kind of felt yeah, maybe that's why, because it's
yeah.
I don't know, they
In
creep
a
me out.
way, yeah, there's a lot of eyeballs. There's a lot of weirdnesses out there. Older people will tell you they have quote unquote trash in their eye, and it's only I don't. They mean they feel like they have a foreign body sensation. But I'm like, I don't think you have trash in your eye, ma'am. And we do a lot of dry eye patients, and there you can look it up online. Dry eye and crazy go hand in hand, and they are just out there.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I feel like she works at an insane asylum. I really do. When she tells me the
Wow.
stories about what the people say and do. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
All right, Doctor's cool. He's a local musician. He's
Oh,
a really
cool.
cool cat. Our guitar player Ross turned me on to him. He hooked us up because I needed to get contacts. 'Cause I can't wear glasses on stage, and I can't see without contacts. So
Right.
he got us hooked up. He's a really cool guy too, man.
That's cool.
Good guitar player.
That's cool.
So what do you
Yeah.
guys have planned? Please tell me. We're gonna get you. Like, we're in Baltimore. Love to see you.
Yeah, it'd be great if you're coming up to East
Oh, that'd be
Coast,
great to
yeah.
come up there. I'm not sure what's in the immediate future. We definitely got some more shows to play. We're heading down to New Orleans, Baton Rouge. We're going back to Texas. And and I'm sure Ross has a bunch of other things planned that he probably hasn't even mentioned to us yet. We're just hammering down that PR campaign real hard, and
Yeah.
just promoting the album, touring the album as best we can. He works offshore, so whenever he comes in, we're on the road trying to play some shows and as much as we can and get it out there.
I know what I wanted to ask you. Who are Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol?
Oh man,
That's funny that you mentioned them because I was thinking about them today.
Really?
I
honestly.
saw
Yeah.
that Facebook post and I was like, I got to ask about these guys.
Oh, they're
do yourself a favor and listen to Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol. They're an awesome band from Austin.
Austin. Yeah.
Austin,
Is it
Texas.
like Southern rock or what is it? I mean, is it
It's-
stoner rock?
It's like it's
hard-
almost
hard to
oh,
describe.
man,
Yeah.
it's just
It's
I
a
almost
great
feel like I'm
name, I
listening
mean,
to Les Claypool for the vocal delivery
Oh, okay.
sometimes.
Yeah,
It's got
it's
that
very-
weirdness. Okay.
And it's
meets White Stripes. Oh, and just there's so many different things going on. Dude's got a 7-string guitar, 7 or 8-string guitar, and it's just between him and the bass, and it's just gnarly ass sounding good, greasy. Like their whole thing is like they got an album called Grease Beast or whatever. It's this big gnarly burger with this Frankenstein man. It's just, and that's the sound. And they're really cool guys. We're good friends with them.
I will definitely check that out. Yeah.
And they jam out.
they throw
When-
down.
Yeah.
They have a really big following here too.
When-
Anytime
it's
they
a
play,
party
it
when they
is-
play here. Every time they have a really good time. Hooks. I'm talking hooks. More hooks than a fucking fishing boat. Like,
I'll
just
have to check
hooks
that
and
out.
pockets and just
Yeah, man, they jam, dude. And it's a really cool band. It's a privilege to play with them every time.
The last car I had a tape deck in it, and I would buy their tapes when they would come to town, and that's all I had to listen to in the car. So I like for good almost 2 years. It was anytime I was driving around town.
Oh yeah.
Rocking
Oh,
every
The
that's
song.
song Gravedigger probably is my favorite one. Gravedigger.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
funny.
It's just
Yeah, we're always looking for new, weird, and outsider music. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, they sound as delicious as the name, or they. sound, you know,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I saw Primus at Lollapalooza. When they came around, and I was on so many chemicals that the next day I thought they had things on stage that they didn't. My friends were all like, "They didn't have anything on stage, you idiot!" And I'm like, "They had like Grateful Dead bears right now. They didn't."
You got to check out a band called Cheater Pipe.
Okay.
They're from here, good
Yeah.
friends of ours. We played so many shows with these guys, and it's like if we could take a band on the road with us. If we had like somebody gave us a ton of money and a tour bus and said, "You can take one local band with you." Yeah, all right, Cheater Pipe's come with us. Like that's our homies, and they're great.
And even like music aside, the stage
Oh yeah,
showmanship of the front man is,
Oh, yeah.
is just he's my favorite guy to watch between songs.
Creosote
Jones.
Jones,
Jones, man, he
All
just
right.
Dr.
writing all
Dick
this
on the
down.
drums,
Yeah, we're writing all
and
this down.
Low C on the Low C on the full string, dang-a-lang, dang-a-lang, dang-a-lang. Yeah, man.
he actually
Oh,
has a
this is great.
longboard that he converted into a guitar too.
Yeah, 1-string guitar, and he plays fucking Sweet Leaf on it, dude, with a slide. It's shit's crazy.
Oh, one
my
string
God.
Yeah,
guitar
dude.
played Sweetly.
Yeah,
Oh my
dude.
God.
It's
That
cool.
sounds
It's
awesome.
cool. He made it himself. They're
I think he doesn't skateboard, but plays guitar.
not
and so
anymore.
on.
They're one of my favorite bands to listen to on a Sunday morning when I'm driving in the country going fishing
Yeah,
and just want to rock out.
awesome. Yeah, we will check that out.
So I had one additional question. What in the world is involved in a crawfish boil, like the one you did for when the album came out? I'm like, what does that entail?
Okay, more often than not, you get a few sacks of crawfish. It's usually a family gathering or any kind of gathering you want to do. There's crawfish season.
So there's seasonal, so you can't have them.
Can't have them year
Oh,
round.
yeah.
It's seasonal.
Yeah.
So during crawfish season, there's so many places here where you can go and get them. Pre-boiled or whatever. Any like you would get boiled seafood anywhere else. But traditionally, you get a few sacks of crawfish, and you have a big pot, and a lot of seasoning goes in this water, and you boil them up. You pour them out on the table. potatoes, corn, fucking mushrooms, carrots, sausage, all kind of different, whatever you want to put in there. And you eat them. You pinch, you
Right.
pull the tail, you suck the head, you pull the meat out of the tail and eat it. And that's a tradition since we were fetuses.
That's great. Yeah,
Basically.
we do it at Baltimore. We do blue crab, same thing. Yeah,
Oh, you see, we
that's
like a
okay.
lot of blue crabs here. We got
Yeah.
them blue point crabs down here,
Yeah, yeah.
and it goes hand in hand with the crawfish, pretty much. That and shrimp.
Yeah, same thing. And it's you pick them and you watch like baseball game and drink beer or whatever. Yeah, it's great.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what we do. We drink beer and watch the Saints and eat crawfish, boil crawfish and eat crabs and we go crabbing. We get a bunch of string, and some beef melt or some chicken legs.
Yeah, chicken legs.
And
right.
throw them out there and pull them up and catch them with the net and catch a whole ice chest full and bring them home and boil them.
Yeah, I think that's a Maryland, Louisiana connection right there. Is the
Hey, we
crustaceans.
found one. We
Yeah.
found a connection, man.
Yeah, there
So
it
We
is.
can't
come
agree on the
see
Ravens.
us.
I'm sorry. We can't agree on the Ravens, but we can agree on crabs.
Well, you guys are NFC, so it's okay. You know.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right.
You're NFC, so it's okay. Yeah.
Well, when we come see you, I guess we'll have to bring some Old Bay, huh?
Yeah, we'll bring some of our spices with us. Yeah.
You won't need it. We got plenty seasoning down here.
Okay.
I get scarred for life. We went to Myrtle and they have all these calabash seafood houses and like nothing had seasoning on it. And I'm like, this is horrible.
If there's one thing you're gonna get when you're down here, it's fucking seasoning.
That's great. That's
Definitely.
great.
There's a lot of flavor. I actually bought some Old Bay hot sauce a while back.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
good. I really
It's
like it.
delicious.
Yeah.
I do
Throw
like
that
Old
and
Bay.
some chicken
I do
wings.
like Old Bay on stuff, seafood.
But
But
during the pandemic, Old Bay had a problem, and like you couldn't, or at least around here, you couldn't get any of it. You couldn't get the hot sauce. You couldn't get the powder.
what?
And I thought there were going to be riots. I really did. It was a
If there-
supply
if-
chain
if-
issue.
If we ran out of Tony Sachery's down here, shit would get crazy.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It would get crazy.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. We don't need water, but we got to have Old Bay. I mean, come on. Yeah. All right. Well, this was great, you guys. I hope you had fun. We had a great time.
I see big things for you guys. I think, maybe this time next year we'll be playing Whack and Open Air Fest for See Ya people.
Hell yeah.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1 is Mood Ring. Mood Ring are a three-piece from Orlando, Florida, formed in 2020, consisting of Hunter Young on vocals and guitar, Sean Dolick on guitar and backing vocals, and Lindy Harder on drums. Definitely a blend of new metal. I'm thinking Linkin Park mixed with some Cell Dweller in some of the drum tracks. The song Black Wave even dips into a bit of a growly vocals over melodic, clean vocals. So their first album came out in 2021, Show Me the Real You, followed up in 2022 with Stargazer. And the new EP is coming out this month. It's called Your Light Fades Away. Drops on July 14th. Themes include pain, loss, sex and addiction, and giving in to a void of temptation.
So we're going to play a song shortly for you by this band called Would You Wait for Me? It's a song about the fragile fibers pulled taut between opposing feelings, says singer Hunter Young. It's a love song about hating to love and loving to hate, devoted to a toxic desire which remains consistent, even though it suffocates and consumes. Who hasn't been there? The song reflects these contrasts in its mashing of sultry, sensual melodies with high angst and screaming desperation. So I did notice, according to their Instagram page, Hunter is going through some, we hope, temporary health issues of a neurological sense. So his doctor has told him, not to overexert himself. So they are not touring at this time. So definitely make sure you get over there and support them in other ways until they can get back out there on the road.
We don't have the heart to tell Hunter that Microsoft Word says that instead of suffocate and consume, it should be suffocate and absorb. So points off for that. Don't listen to them, Hunter.
Anyway, and don't get them confused with Mood Rings. This is just Mood Ring.
So here is Would You Wait for Me?
All right, this is Deaf Ears number 2, Ignia, Dreams of Lands Unseen. All right, shift gears for this one, guys. This is a really different, and believe me, I love a blendy blend of mixing mix, but this is a blendy blend mixing mix I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
This is a symphonic metal band. This is actually the second Ukraine band to charm their way into my playlist this year. Deathpill was the
Remember
first.
Deathpill? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great too. Yeah.
Yeah, they put up some
Ukraine bands. Yeah.
great stuff on social media, really silly stuff. Over the course of the 45 minutes, this charming 5-piece unfurls truckloads of sulky riffs, classical gas, folk-inspired segs, and counter melodies, and the incredible vocal range of singer Hel Bondanova, who proceeds to lullaby us 1 minute with beautiful, clean vocals, and then bludgeon us on the next with sinister barks in both English and her native language.
Expect the unexpected with this one. It's an ambitious concept album, and it revolves around the travels of Ukrainian documentarian Sofia Yablonsky. The album is a pastiche of textures and styles presented with a cinematic sort of flair. Now, you did a little research on Sophia, didn't you?
Yeah, she was
Yablonsky.
actually, I was so intrigued by this, I had to find out more about her. She
Right.
was born May 15th in 1907, which was not a great time to be a woman if you were ambitious, which she was. She immigrated to Paris. She became a journalist, which was unheard of for a woman in that time frame, and began traveling the world. She used these experiences to write 3 books. She wrote about Morocco and China, and everyone that she came in contact to, she would introduce to her own Ukrainian culture. So all this was extremely ambitious, if not extremely dangerous for a woman to embark upon in this time. Tragically enough, she died in a car accident February 4th, 1971. She was en route to Paris to deliver the last manuscript of her final works, 2 Weights, 2 Measures. So
She didn't let Microsoft Word bully her.
she did not.
Fuck you, Bill Gates.
So
Anyway, but getting back to the album.
interesting
Really
story.
interesting.
So I can understand the inspiration for this great.
Yeah. I mean,
album.
this is the type of band that makes you think a little bit. Cuts like Camera Obscura and Far Horizon flirt with industrial rhythms, keys twinkling behind her vocal theatrics. Nomad's Luck roars to life with Zepp-style Eastern melodies that morph into steely riffing, alternating pop hooks and headbanging energy. Dunes, the song we're going to play for you now, may be the heaviest cut on offer. Symphonic hooks dancing with crunching guitars and breathtaking nature poetry from Bodnova. Sacred chants of the rivers, rainfall in the twilight, chilly shadows of pine trees calling. This band moves from near-death metal crush to airy tribal percussion in the blink of an eye. Catchy, high art, very smart.
And they have their own coffee.
I didn't even know about them.
Yeah, they have their own coffee. And if you buy the mug, it's 20% off the coffee. You can get a cup of,
All about the merch.
you can get a cup of Ignia to start your day.
I like it. And the fact that they're from the Ukraine makes it all the more impressive. And then you consider the depth of the subject matter. This is an amazing band, and we're going to play the song for you now called Dunes.
All right, Deaf Ears 3. Again, hold on to your hats. This is Orad. This is a sacred and profane.
You know, when Amos Milburn released his rock and roll version of Chicken Shack Boogie back in 1956, I don't think that the man could see that this music would evolve into a progressive doom opera. But that is exactly what Moira Murphy and Matt Gottman-Sheehan of Oryad have created. Sacred and Profane is the first full-length album from this Colorado/Tennessee 4-piece. Moira's grandiose vocals ignite her dark poetry with beauty and distinction. Set against the staccato riffing of Lucia Greenman and Sheehan's blast-infused drumming style, the juxtaposition of symphonic class, dark piano, and crunching metal makes for a blend as bold as it is unique.
Oriad is one of the most grandiose metal bands in recent memory. The pomp of the vocals, violins, piano, and riffs combine to make Prime Nightwish sound like a garage band. One listen to a cut like blood, moving from sprightly bouncing piano to wailing operatics over crushing drums. It is obvious that this band has forged a sound like no other. There is a question, however, about they only list 2 people as members of this band, the singer and the drummer. There are definitely guitarists. There is one listed, but I even saw an earlier video where there was guitar and bass. But it doesn't matter how many guitars. This is amazing music.
Yeah, yeah. The song we're going to play for you is what I think is the brightest star of the record, Scorched Earth. I like Sheehan's stutter-stepping percussion builds tension against the galloping riff, and Murphy's luscious vocal workout is amazing. Beyond epic, release the doves, saddle up the dressage horses, grab an opera mask, and let's play Scorched Earth. Did I say opera mask? Well. This was a fun one. Talked about a lot. Talked about just about every tattoo that TJ's ever had in more detail than I was. I was actually getting kind of uncomfortable, frankly. I geeked out about AC/DC.
Like he hasn't showed off his tattoos.
Mm.
He has.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Over Patreon, I even show some that are in
I believe
unusual places.
Having one geek out with Jens. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
What else did we do?
We talked about some July 4th traditions, like getting blown up by your neighbors.
Yeah. We met some goats. Yeah.
And one pumpkin spice cat.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a silky chicken.
I guess the main theme of this show is do not let Microsoft Word bully you. Just because software is arrogant does not mean it's right.
We met Vermillion Whiskey, and we are intent on getting them out of Louisiana and out to all of you.
Escape from Louisiana.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to TJ and Jason from Vermillion Whiskey for appearing on the show. Be sure to snag one of those colored vinyl copies of Crimson and Stone from their Bandcamp. Amazing vinyl. Also, amazing shirts. Definitely get over there and support them on Bandcamp, as well as spinning a listen to this awesome album. Shout out to Bruce, Chrissy, and Pumpkin Spice and the rest of the gang over at the Filbert Street Garden for having us over. Be sure to head over to their website and give them some support. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season artwork courtesy of Casey Angel. You can check out more of his artwork on his Instagram. Deaf Ears Band, definitely get over there and check them out as well. Mood Ring, Ignia, Oriad. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
We'll go to the mat for you.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.